So this was the Liouville's equation. We derived it yesterday after so much. Uh, we derived this equation yesterday after so much hard work, mathematical hard work. And this is Liouville's equation. Now let's talk about why did we derive it at the first place. Let's talk about this. What was the purpose of last 1.5 hours? If what did we wanted to know? We wanted to know that, let me recap everything. If there is a system, you can write this, you can represent that system as a representative point on a phase space. So phase space is space of generalized coordinate and generalized moment. You can represent the whole system as a point. Okay, and you can create a mental copies of so many systems, which we will call ensemble of the system, and you can represent all of the copies of the ensemble of systems which has same macro state but different micro states onto this phase space. And eventually we want to know how these states evolve as time goes on. We want to know, and that is given by Liouville's equation. We derived it yesterday. Now, can anybody of you answer me, why did we use the ensemble theory at the first place? Why should we understand about ensemble at all? Like why we are creating this infinitely many mental copies of the system? What is the purpose in creating those infinitely many mental copies of the system?
We cannot have that many copies, or like we cannot individually observe that many copies. Is it
We cannot observe individually how much what?
that much of copies, like that much amount of system? Like we cannot.
So let me just give you an example. Then you can, I think, uh, guide me what you are talking about. So there is a gas in this container, and this its macro state is defined with its internal energy E or internal energy U. You can write it both ways. So its internal energy is U. The gas's internal energy is U. That is macroscopic state, which is defined, properly defined. Now what you do is to understand this, or uh, to work on this, you create an ensemble of many identical copies of this box. Why do you do that? That's what my question is. I just rephrased my question. Why do you do that? Now I think, yes, can you uh, guide me where you were guiding?
Like to study all those different states, or like different state of different microscopic states of like this system collectively. Like that is why we create this ensembles.
So yes, so we want to study different states, different microscopic states collectively. So why do we want to study those different microscopic states collectively? What is
Sir,
the thing that we want to do here?
sir,
Yes.
sir, we as we have described in introductory class that it is beneficial to understand everything about a system just by knowing their all macroscopic states in
Yes.
principle. So
Yes.
that is why we are doing this.
Okay. So why we are going for so many microstates? We can work on this only. This is the actual system. Okay. This is the actual system where I have a box. There is a gas inside the box, and we want to find the parameters of this gas. It means internal energy or pressure or something like that. We want to find it. But why we are creating so many mental copies of this system? What is the need? I hope you heard the word ensemble the very first time. This question should have been there in your mind when you first. I think some of you asked also this question. So to me also. I don't know if exactly I remember or not. Some of you asked this
सर
question. Yes.
क्योंकि हमें इसकी ट्रेजेक्टरी है वो पता चल सके उसके
Yes.
हिसाब से।
ट्रेजेक्टरी इन फेस स्पेस पता चल सके। तो उससे क्या होगा?
तो उससे जैसा कि आपने पिछली क्लास में बताया था कि हम किसी भी पार्टिकल के सिस्टम अकॉर्डिंग जान सकते हैं उसकी स्टेट, तो वो बेनिफिट हो सकता है।
ओके, सो लेट मी पुट इट दिस वे, जो आपने कहा उसे। ओके, तो जो आपका नाम क्या था? व्हाट इज योर नेम?
विरल।
Viral. Okay, so what Viral said was that we can Okay, my voice is repeating in my ears. Okay, now it is clear. So what Viral said was that if we know a state of the system, that means this whole system can be represented as a just a single point in the uh, phase space representation. Then you, as this state evolves, means this molecules will keep on moving. That means this point will also be moving. So this is called its trajectory, and this point will reach somewhere here. Okay, this is wonderful idea. But why we are creating so many mental copies if we are just interested in one particle's trajectory? Why we are creating so many mental copies, which we are calling ensembles? Why we are doing that? Hold this question with you. If you know the answer, just hold it with you, because this is what the idea of next 2-3 lectures is going to be. Yes.
सर क्योंकि उसकी माइक्रोस्कोपिक स्टेट अलग अलग होगी तो दूसरी मेंटल कॉपीज की जरूरत पड़ेगी, तभी तो ऑब्जर्व कर पाएंगे.
But if we yes, so एक मिनट, मैं आपका अगर आंसर फिर से रिपीट करूं तो माइक्रोस्कोपिक स्टेट इसकी अलग अलग कैसे हो सकती है, क्योंकि ऑल द पार्टिकल्स आर डिफाइंड एट अ सिंगल पॉइंट, मतलब उनका रिप्रेजेंटेशन सिंगल पॉइंट पे किया है. ये सिंगल पॉइंट क्या दिखा रहा है कि फर्स्ट पार्टिकल ये क्यू आई एक्सिस है और वो ith पार्टिकल का कोई फिक्स्ड पॉइंट से, मान लो इसे हम ओरिजिन कहते हैं, तो ith पार्टिकल का कोई फिक्स्ड पॉइंट से डिस्टेंस है ये क्यू आई, और ये पी आई है वो ith पार्टिकल का किसी इनिशियल जीरो मोमेंटम के रिस्पेक्ट में मोमेंटम. सो ये क्यू आई क्या है, ith पार्टिकल का पोजिशन एंड मोमेंटम. क्यू आई पी आई ith पार्टिकल का. वैसे बहुत सारे पार्टिकल है, सबका पोजिशन मोमेंटम इकट्ठा करके वी जस्ट प्लॉटेड इट ऑन दिस एज अ सिंगल पॉइंट in this f dimensional space. So we can do it with just one point, and now if any of the particle moves, we can show it in this diagram. Just let me take a simple example. Let me take a simple example of spring block system. This is the spring and the block, and it is moving on the frictionless surface. Now spring is tied here, and if you just pull this block to some extent and then just leave it, it will execute simple harmonic motion. And what I want to know is ki when it will be here at this distance somewhere around a, at a distance from the mean position. Mean position means when the spring was unstressed, then its velocity will be 0, because I just left it. I just left it from my hand. I just stretched it and just left it from my hand. So its velocity will be 0. Its extension will be a. So this direction I'm taking as x, and the momentum in this direction I'm taking as px. So its extension will be a. So if I know this, this is the micro state of this system, its position and momentum. So if we talk about so many spring block systems, that means one spring block system is doing oscillation in this direction. There is another spring block system doing oscillation in y direction. Another spring block system doing oscillation in z direction, something like this. So all these simple harmonic motions put together, हम पूरे सारे सिंपल हार्मोनिक, बहुत सारे सिंपल हार्मोनिक ऑसिलेटर्स हैं हमारे पास. इस ब्लॉक को सिंपल हार्मोनिक ऑसिलेटर कहते हैं. So if we have so many simple harmonic oscillators, then what we can do is we just write all of them as a point, जहां पे ये axis, number of axis will increase obviously, but we can write just as this single simple harmonic oscillator was denoted as a single point. If you have n simple harmonic oscillators, you can know 3n axis and a total 6n axis, and from that total 6n axis you can just put a single point, and all of this simple harmonic oscillator will be represented by this single point, just a single point. So why do we need so many single points? That is what the first idea was कि आपके पास एक box gas का है. If you have a box of gas, all the molecules are there. वो सारे molecule का position और momentum दिखाने के लिए आपके पास एक phase space है. You have this qi and pi, and you put just one point. It represents all the molecules position and momentum together as a point. My question is, why do we need another set of another box where this position momentum might be different and you want to put another point here? You need third box which has the same macroscopic properties, but the position and momentum of the particles will be different because the boxes are different. So there is a third representative point for third box. Why do we need so many representative points? So for ensembles, there are so many identical copies. For each copy, there is one representative point. And we studied how this representative point together moves in space. We studied this as Liouville's theorem. But my question is, why do we need so many mental copies? That is my question. Just hold it, try to search about it, and tomorrow or day after tomorrow, maybe we'll talk about it in some greater detail. Okay. So yes. So this is my question. I hope my question is clear. This is the question. Just hold it with you. This is my question. So we were talking about something called Liouville's theorem, where so many states of an ensemble were moving in the phase space, and we knew how its density varied as a p q changed, and however it's the density of these points, representative points, changed. So this is what was given by Liouville's equation. This is it. This was yesterday's class. All of this is another question that I asked all of you guys, but this was yesterday's class. If you didn't understood any part from this question, don't worry, it is not for anyhow, it is not important right now. It will be important just after 1 or 2 days. So yes, this is Liouville's equation, and yesterday we spent a lot of time deriving this equation. Now we want to know the physics of this. The first part of Liouville's equations physics is principle of conservation of density in phase. It gives us something, that Liouville's equation, which was del rho by del t plus this Poisson bracket of rho h equal to 0. It gives us something called principle of conservation of density in phase space. It gives us something like this. So what does it tells us? That what is density in phase space? How does the density distribution varies as points move in phase space? Was given by this Liouville's equation, and that Liouville's equation in turn gives us the principle of conservation of density in phase space. What is the statement of principle of conservation of density in phase space? That the rate of change of density of phase points, what the notation for density of phase points is rho qpt. This is the density of phase points. So rate of change of density of phase points in the neighborhood of moving phase point in the gamma space is 0. So let me put everything together. So rate of change of density of phase points. What do we mean by rate of change? It is d by dt of density of phase points dqpt. Okay, the first statement till here was written. The representing system means phase points. So I just wrote the meaning of phase points in the bracket. It is representing systems. Okay. Now what does this in the neighborhood of moving phase point means? It means that when a phase point is moving, if you are also moving with the phase points, that means you are in the neighborhood of moving phase points. So if you are also moving with the phase points, that just yesterday we took an example, phase point was moving from one place to the other place. Now if you are also moving together with all those phase points, that means you are always in the neighborhood of moving phase point. So the rate of rho density of phase points in the neighborhood of moving phase point in the gamma space is always 0. So in the gamma space means in the 6n dimensional or in the f dimensional space, this number is equal to 0. That is what the principle of conservation of density tells. How do you know by this Liouville's equation? Let's talk about it. So let's do some basic mathematics. Let's do some basic mathematics for any function. For any function f of the function maybe of f of xyz, let's say. For any function f of xyz, how you write df by dt? If this x, y, and z all are independent variable, now I need help from the mathematics students and the biochemistry students. If you don't understand this part, what I'm going to write now, you need to ask right now, because this is the part which we'll be using in thermodynamics also. So yes, what is df by dt? If anybody of you can tell me, if f is a function of x, y, z.
0.
Oh, yes. So x, y, and z in terms depends on t. Here I just could not use this line. Yes, answer is 0, definitely. But if x, y, and z also themselves depends on time, these guys also depends on time, then what is df by dt? Yes, answer was 0 if these guys did not depend on time, but now these guys also depend on time. That means x will depend on time, y will depend on time, z will depend on time. So df by dt is given by del f by del x dx by dt plus del f by del y dy by dt. Let me write it properly. Plus del f by del z into dz by dt. I hope this is clear. This is known as the chain rule of differentiation. And if this is not clear, for biochemistry student, this is something which we use all the day in mathematics. So this is known as chain rule of partial differentiation actually. So this is known as chain rule for multiple variables. Chain rule for multivariable functions. If these guys also themselves depend on something else, some other variable, then this is known as the chain rule for multivariable function. Now, why I taught you this? Because our function rho was depending on three things: q, p, and t. Position, momentum, and time. And then this position and momentum guys, the generalized position and momentum guys, they also depend on time, because at different positions, at different time, the position of the phase point will be different. The different time, the momentum of the phase point will be different. So these two guys also themselves depend on time. So how do I write d rho by dt? I write it like this: del rho by del t into del q by del t. Del q by del t if this rho is dependent on q and p and t only. So del rho by del t, del p by sorry, this should not be del t. Sorry. Some of you need to point these mistakes if you are awake. This is simple, and del rho by del t into dt by dt, which is going to be 0, because this is dz by dt. Here we are, the third variable itself is t, so it is going to be dt by dt, which is going to be 1. Sorry, so into dt by dt. Let me write it for the sake of continuity. Now you can cancel it, but this is for the rho, our rho, which is density distribution phase space, but our phase space was multivariable phase space. So what do we write it at the place of del q by del t? It is q dot, and since it is for ith dimension, it is qi, ith particle, it is qi. For ith dimension, it is pi dot. This is del p by del t is pi dot, and this is going to be 1. This dt by dt is going to be 1. So how can I write this del rho by del t for all those dimensions? This I need to put a sigma here with I equal to 1 to f for all the dimensions, and these two guys in the bracket, it's pi here. This is how the total derivative looks like in multi dimensions for multiple variables. This is how the total derivative looks like. So let me write it in the nice set of words again. So what is d rho by dt? Sigma I equal to 1 to f del rho by del qi into qi dot plus del rho by del pi into pi dot plus del rho by del t. And this, the first part I wrote it like this because we need to add all the dimensions. It is not now the function of only 3 variables, it is the function of so many variables, which is 2f variables. So we need to have all the 2f variables here, add to all the 2f variables here, and del rho by del t is already there. So this is total derivative of rho with respect to time, and this is the partial derivative of rho with respect to time. And this term is looking like the Poisson bracket that we derived yesterday. So this term looks like the Poisson bracket of rho and h. If you know that qi dot is del h by del p I, and this pi dot is minus of del h by del qi. If you put it like this, then this term looks like the Poisson bracket of rho and h. And you know from Liouville's equation that del rho by del t plus Poisson bracket of rho and h is going to be equal to 0. Therefore, d rho by dt is going to be equal to 0. And this tells you that now it is the time for physics. It was basic mathematics. What does this tell you? What is the physical significance of this term? It tells you that chain of rho, by keeping p and q constant. Rho is a function of 3 variables: pi, not only 3 variables, it is function of 2f plus 1 variables. So out of 2f plus 1, f variables are pi, f variables are qi, and one variable is time. So rho is a function of 2f plus 1 variables. One of those variables is time. Now change this del rho by del t tells us that it is the change in rho, rate of change in rho, rate of change of rho by keeping pi and qi constant. It means that you are just standing at a one place on the phase space. This is the f dimensional phase space with pi here and qi here. You are just standing at one point by keeping pi and qi constant, and you are watching that how the rho changes as time passes at this point only, in the neighborhood of this point only. At this point, how much density changes of representative points in the neighborhood of this point only. So this is rate of change of rho by keeping pi and qi constant, and this guy is rate of change of rho by moving or changing pi and qi. So you can change pi and qi here, and this tells you the rate of change of rho by moving pi and qi. That means, and that rate of change of rho by moving pi and qi is equal to 0. So what does it mean is, let me tell you physically, yesterday's, just as in yesterday's picture. So क्या हुआ था, हमारे पास एक फेस स्पेस था जिसमें बहुत सारी एक्सेस थी पी एंड क्यू आई वाली, बहुत सारी एक्सेस, बहुत सारे रिप्रेजेंटेटिव पॉइंट्स थे जो इस वॉल्यूम के अंदर थे. इस वॉल्यूम को हमने बोला था डी गामा वॉल्यूम, छोटा सा वॉल्यूम था डी गामा या फिर डेल्टा गामा. इस वॉल्यूम को हमने बोला था डेल्टा गामा. अब जैसे टाइम पास हुआ था, ये सारे रिप्रेजेंटेटिव पॉइंट्स फेस स्पेस में चल रहे थे बिकॉज ऑफ ट्रेजेक्टरी. हमने क्या देखा था कि इफ वी जस्ट स्टैंड एंड वॉच एट दिस पॉइंट, अगर हम छोटा सा इंसान बन के इधर बैठ जाए और इफ वी जस्ट वॉच द डेंसिटी एट दिस पॉइंट, इट विल बी वेरिंग, इट इज डेल रो बाय डेल टी. बट अगर आप ये पॉइंट्स के साथ साथ चलते हो तो एज टाइम पासेस क्यू एंड पी आर ऑल्सो मूविंग फॉर यू. अगर आप सेकेंड ऑब्जर्वर बन के, दिस इज एट रेस्ट इज राम ऑब्जर्वर, दिस ऑब्जर्वर इज श्याम, which is moving with these phase points. अगर आप phase points के साथ चलते हो तो the rate of change of density that is applicable for you is known as d rho by dt. It is not del rho by dt because now your position and momentum are also changing and these points position and momentum are also changing. So आप यहाँ से यहाँ जब move करोगे from the volume d gamma to d gamma prime, में भी ये वॉल्यूम सारे रिप्रेजेंटेटिव पॉइंट्स मूव करेंगे, इनका वॉल्यूम चेंज हो जाएगा. मे बी हम मान रहे हैं अभी कि इनका वॉल्यूम चेंज हो जाएगा और उनकी डेंसिटी भी चेंज हो जाएगी, ऐसा हम मान रहे थे. बट इफ यू मूव विथ दीज पॉइंट्स, इनका डेंसिटी चेंज नहीं होगा. डी रो बाय डी टी विल बी 0. इनका डेंसिटी आप कितना भी लंबा चलो, इफ यू आर मूविंग विथ दोज रिप्रेजेंटेटिव पॉइंट्स, द डेंसिटी ऑफ दीज पॉइंट्स विल नॉट चेंज. एंड दिस फिनोमेना हैपेंस इन इनकम्प्रेसिबल फ्लूइड. जैसे कि एक ट्यूब के अंदर आप पानी का फ्लो करवाते हो और ट्यूब सफिशिएंटली लंबा है, सो इन मिडल रेंज ऑफ द ट्यूब यू कैन कंसीडर दैट वाटर इज बिहेविंग एज ए इनकम्प्रेसिबल फ्लूइड. एंड व्हाट यू कैन सी इज कि वाटर का डेंसिटी, आप अगर वाटर के साथ साथ चलोगे, वो मिडल रेंज में अगर बहुत लंबा पाइप है और मिडल रेंज में आप वाटर के साथ साथ चलोगे, इट्स डेंसिटी विल बी द डेंसिटी ऑफ दैट पार्ट जिसके साथ साथ आप चल रहे हो, इट विल बी ऑलवेज कांस्टेंट. That is why it is called incompressible fluid. You can't compress it. And if you can compress it, its density will change, but you can't compress it. So these phase points are behaving as incompressible fluid in the phase space. This is what Leo will give us as the first principle of conservation of density in phase space. This is the principle of conservation of density in phase space. If you are moving, for an observer moving with representative points, the density of phase points or representative points remains constant. But for the observer standing and watching, the density of representative points is not constant. It is given by negative of the rho h, this portion bracket of rho h. So it is not constant. This is beautiful. अगर आप इसके बारे में थोड़ा सा सोचोगे, this is beautiful कि आप यहाँ खड़े रह के देख रहे हो, then what you are seeing is the density at that point where you are watching is somewhere is changing always, because कभी वो density इस point पे बढ़ जाएगा, कभी density कम हो जाएगा. But if you are moving with the fluid का density change नहीं हो रहा है. This is what is beautiful. If you are moving with the fluid with that representative points, the representative points density is not changing. But if you are just standing there and watching, the density of representative points might change locally, but or if you are moving with them, it won't change. Even if the now there is something else. We just assume here that this volume, initial volume of these representative points was d tau or d gamma, and the final volume is d gamma prime. But we have some relation between these two volumes as well from the Liouville's theorem. But first, physics part from the Liouville's theorem tells us that the density in phase space remains always conserved. Density in phase space remains always conserved. So all these representative points density, wherever they will move in the phase space, it will be conserved. So I was telling that if you are moving with this, but if you are just watching from the outside, just like we are watching from the outside, then these points, even if they move at these points, the density will be constant for these points. So even if we are watching from the outside, the density will never change if the points are moving in the phase space. This is one wonderful result from the Liouville's theorem. If you have any questions right now, you can ask. Okay. So there is something else called the principle of conservation of extension in phase space. Now, what do we call extension? Extension means to stretch something. So we already had an extension in phase space. This is called extension in phase space. So all the representative points were sitting inside a volume which is extended in some extended surface, whose volume was d gamma. So all the representative points initially were sitting inside this volume d gamma. But now what Liouville's theorem tells us that how this volume, this shape might change because these points, let's talk about this pi and qi. So these points have higher velocity compared to these points. So these points will stay a little bit these points will move a little bit slower, and these points will move a little bit faster because they have the higher momentum. So they will travel much more distance, and these lower points will travel a less distance. So the shape will be distorted. So we assume that the volume will change, but what does this principle of conservation of extension in phase space tells us? That these volumes will also be constant. So these volumes will also be conserved. So this is called the principle of conservation of extension in phase space, that how does the volume bounding the phase points varies as the points move in the phase space. So it tells us that any arbitrary element of volume or extension in phase in gamma space bounded by a moving surface and containing a number of phase points does not change with the time despite the displacements and distortions. This volume element, this small volume element, will be distorted, just like we showed in the picture. It will be distorted, it will be displaced, but its volume will not change. It is so how do you write it? Its initial volume was, suppose, let's say d gamma, so its volume won't change with respect to time. So change of d gamma as time passes is zero. This is what this principle of conservation of extension tells us. How do you know this? Let's do some mathematics to prove this. So you have some number of phase points inside a small volume d gamma. So let's not take this as a d gamma, let's take it as a delta gamma, because you are using d at so many places. So you take a volume in phase space known as delta gamma, and the number of representative points in that volume is delta gamma into rho. And you know that if you take the time derivative of this number of representative points, now you cannot create or destroy those representative points because they represent some actual state, and you are not creating or destroying that state. You just created those ensemble of states. So these points in the phase space, which are representative points, create or destroy those points, representative points. So as time passes, the change in delta n is zero. The representative number of representative points inside this volume is zero, and that's how we want to calculate rho into delta gamma. And this is equal to rho into d by dt of delta gamma plus delta gamma into d rho by dt. And we know that this d rho by dt is zero because of the conservation of density in phase space, and that's why this term has to be zero, and that's why rho times d by dt of delta gamma has to be 0, and that's why d by dt of delta gamma has to be 0. Therefore, delta gamma has to be constant. So this gives us some another wonderful physics. So there were some states here. These states moved. The shape of the surface containing these states got distorted, but eventually the volume here and the volume here are equal. These two guys are equal, and the density here and the density here is also equal. So this is what the principle of conservation of this is extension in phase space tells us. So this is not density. It is the principle of conservation of extension in phase space tells us that this extension will also be conserved. Extension means the extending the surfaces. This extension or the volume in the phase space will also be conserved even if these points will move as time passes. Will also be conserved. And with this, we are finishing our chapter. With this, we are finishing our chapter, the 4th chapter. There is one more chapter left, 5th chapter in our syllabus, which is quite small chapter. We'll be finishing it and we'll be studying it. This chapter contained a lot more ideas which were very abstract to our mind, but in the next chapter, the ideas are relatively simple. The mathematics is very simple. So it is a very good chapter to actually see where why should we learn these ideas at the first place. So to see that why should we learn this idea at the first place, we are going to that chapter, the next chapter, where we are actually applying these ideas, all of these ideas, and we will be learning it there. So next chapter is relatively very easy. So let's try to solve a few examples. This first 2 examples are there, only 2 examples are there. Let's try to solve the first example. So example 1, a system of 4 particles has energy levels with energy 0, 1, 2, 3 units. So a system has 4 particles. So there are 4 particles. Let's name those particles A, B, C, D. And the system has 4 energy levels with energies equal to 0, 1, 2, 3. Now we want to we know from the outside that the macroscopic measurement of total energy of the system is 3 units. So how do I write this? There is a box. In that box, there are 4 gas molecules, A, B, C, D. There are 4 gas molecules, and all of those gas molecules, just assume that they are hydrogen molecules. So they can have some amount of energy. For hydrogen molecules, the lowest energy is 13.6 electron volt, and it increases as we go upwards. So all the molecules can have some energy. Now instead of 13.6 electron volt, we are using 0, 1, 2, 3 units energy. We are not using electron volts energy. So all those molecules can have any amount of energy, and those 4 particles, it is the constraint applied by us that the total energy of the system has to be 3 units. Now you need to arrange themselves in these 4 sections. So how many microstates are possible if the energy states is 3 units, if all the particles are indistinguishable and if all the particles are distinguishable? This is our question. And I did some similar kind of question in the recap class. So I want you to try it out first, and then we'll be studying the physics of it. I am also doing it here, but I'll be doing it right now. Don't if you want to do it, you do it on your own, but I'm also doing it right now. So there are 4 particles, 4 energy levels, and total energy of all the 4 particles has to be 3 units. And if all the particles are indistinguishable, that means there is a blindfold on your eyes. There is a blindfold on your eyes. All 4 particles looks like balls. All of the balls may have different colors, but you can only touch all of these 4 balls, and what you can tell is that you just keep one ball in this energy level, one ball in this energy level, one ball in this energy level. You can't distinguish between those 4 balls, even though they have different colors. But you cannot distinguish between those guys because you have a blindfold on. So the first case is if all these 4 particles are indistinguishable, how many microstates are possible? What do we mean by microstate? The macroscopic property is 3 units. Now in how many ways you can arrange these particles so that total energy remains 3 units? If these particles are indistinguishable, then what you can do is, to make 3 units of energy, you can put one particle here in 0 state, 0, 1, 2, 3, and put one particle here, one particle here, one particle here, all of them on 0th state. You can put one particle on the 3rd state. Now this gives you the total energy equal to 3 units. This arrangement gives you the total energy equal to 3 units. You can put all this You can consider these energy levels as the steps. So you have 4 steps. You can put all 3 balls on this ground step, and you can put all the one ball which was left on the upper step. Now you can't interchange between these balls because they are not distinguishable. So even if you will change, you will find eventually that the system exactly looks like the same. As you are touching those balls, you will feel that even if you are changing that, now you will touch the ball, it will appear to be same. So now you can't change anything here. Now the other way of doing or arranging 4 balls on 4 steps is that you put one ball here, one ball here, and two balls here actually on 0th state, and one ball on 1 state and one ball on 2 state. So this also gives you the total energy of 3 units. And now you can't interchange between these guys, as these guys looks indistinguishable. So you can't, even if you will change, the system remains looks like this only. So this is also one set of way how you can arrange these guys. Now there is, if let us see if any other way is possible. Kindly anybody tell me if any other way is possible.
3 in energy level 1, 3 balls in one energy level.
Okay.
Right?
Yes. So there can be this. Yes. Thank you. Yes. There can be 3 balls in 1 energy level and 1 ball in 0 energy level. This configuration also has 3 units of energy. So this configuration also has any other configuration possible. If anybody can tell me, apart from these 3. Why I'm doing this question? There is a specific purpose. There is a definite purpose why I'm doing this question. Okay, this question is not purposeless just because it is given in your book. I am not doing it. There is a purpose. Yes, kindly tell me if any other states are possible, or if it is not possible, just tell me that it is not possible. I want contribution from other students also. Only 3-4 students are responding. Okay. So if anything else is possible or not, kindly just tell me that. You have 4 steps. You have to arrange 4 balls on those 4 steps so that the total sum of individual energy of 1 2 3 4, 0 1 2 3 states is equal to 3 units. You need to arrange them like this. Any other configuration do you see? Can you see any other configuration apart from these 3 configurations? This is the first configuration, this is the second configuration, this is the third configuration. Can you see any other configuration apart from these?
No, sir. For indistinguishable part, I think no.
Okay, so there is no other configuration. Now what you can do is, now you can open your blindfold and you can see that there are 4 balls A, B, C, D. You have written with your ball pen on each ball A, B, C, D. Now you have 4 states, and now you want to, if you want to make different combinations. So for this combination, what you can do is, for the first combination, if you initially had ball A, B, and C on the ground state and D on the excited state, now what you can do is you can put A, B, and D here and C here. Now what you can do is you can put A, C, D here and B here, and now what you can do is you can put C, B, C, D here and A here. So for this one configuration, there came out to be 4 configuration. If you are, your blindfold is open, so you can arrange those balls 4 in 4 types to make 3 units of energy for this particular combination. Now for this combination, can anybody help me? How many types will be possible? Can anybody tell me? So if you keep A, B here and C here and D here, then you have other way of doing it as well. You can put A, B here and then D here and C here. Both of these are different configurations right now. Now what you can do is you can change that. You can put A, C here, and B here, and D here, and you can put A, C here, and D here, and B here. You can do these kind of exercises. Can anybody give me the total number how these three guys can be arranged? How these four guys can be arranged like this?
6.
Okay, the answer, the first answer is 6. Yes. So if you, yes, 8.
8.
8. Okay, the second answer is 8. Any more answers? The 4 scenarios I am already seeing over here on the board. Other 4 scenarios, if the answer is 8 or other, if the answer is 6, then can kindly tell me other 2 scenarios. Let's make all the scenarios.
A and C on the 2 and 1. A, C and 2 and 1.
Okay, A and C on 2 and 1, and B and C. So here also you have 2 combinations for this part also.
Yes.
Now, yes. Anything else? So here also
A and
for
D.
this combination, A and B
A, D.
on upper end.
D. Delhi.
Okay, A and D can also be there here. So C and D, B and C are here.
Yes.
B and C here also you have 2 combinations. Now you can put A and B also here, right? And here you have C and D. So here also you have 2 combinations. The ground state you have C and D, and you put A and B on the second and first and second level. So here
Sir,
also you have 2 combinations. Yes.
in the second row, the first one, it will be D, right? In the top one.
Okay, yes, it will be D. A and D. So it is A and C. Here it should be D. I'm sorry. Just let me write it on the next page. I'll be writing it on the next page, so I can draw it properly. So it is, if there are B and C here, and it is A and D, there are 2 possibilities because you can exchange that. Now there is B and D here, and there is A and C. Now also for this also you have 2 possibilities. Now you can have A and B here, and here is C and D. For this also you have 2 possibilities. Now what you need to do this is, you have to choose 2 guys from all these 4 guys to put in the ground state, and for each one of those you have 2 possibilities. If you know what I have written here, we had 4 balls. You need to choose any 2 balls to put them in the ground state, and for each once you choose 2 balls and put them in the ground state, now for each configuration you have 2 different configurations. So I just multiplied it with 2. So this number will give me 4 into 3 divided by 2 factorial into 2. It is 12 configurations are there. If any biology students who did not understood this is called combination. So from 4 different balls you combined, you choose 2 balls, so that is called combination. And if you choose 2 balls, you just put it in the ground state. Now with the remaining 2 balls you can construct 2 different states, so that is the multiplication with 2. So total number of configurations will be 12 in this case. Let's see. So there are already 4 combinations here, 6 combinations here. Now we need only 2 more combinations. So in there it is AB, it is AC. We need AD also in the denominator, in the lower energy level. And now you can have B and C here, and you can have 2 more combinations of this. So what you did is, how to do these kind of problems. Even if you don't know this, just take A with B in the lower level, take A with C, take A with D. Now let's take the next letter B and take B with C, take B with D, because we are not taking B with A because it is already there. B with A or A with B, both are there in the ground state. It is similar. Now we took B with C and B with D. Now take C with D, and for each and every one there are 2 possibilities. So eventually it is total 12 possibilities. For this, just one, if these balls were indistinguishable, there was only 1 possibility, but now there are 12 possibilities. Here, if the balls were indistinguishable, there were how many possibilities? 1 possibility, but now there are 4 possibilities corresponding to this case. And for this case, the number of possibilities Can anybody tell me? It is 4 possibilities. It is just similar to this case. Here you used 3 here and 1 here. Now here you are using 3 in the first excited state and 1 on the ground state. So here also the number of states, the number of ways you will be arranging is 4 in distinguishable case. So you can take A here and B, C, D here, or you can take B here or A, C, D here, or you can do this. Okay, there are 4 ways to arrange this also. Now this example is completed. We were asked to know that list the accessible microstates if the particles are in this state. So this 1, 2, and 3 are accessible microstates for indistinguishable particle, and this 4, 12, and 4 are the accessible microstates if particles were indistinguishable. Now, how many states are there if the total states are there if the particles are distinguishable? Okay, let me give the physical interpretation of this problem. Why we did this problem in the first place. So physically, if you have 2 energy levels, let's suppose you have 2 energy levels, just you have 2 energy levels, और वो 2 energy level में, वो 2 energy level किसकी वजह से? You are studying atomic spectroscopy, तो particle has something called spin. Okay, let's not go into that part. Okay. Physically, why we are studying this problem? I am giving you one simple example. Physically, why we are studying this problem? Because कि अगर आपको बोला जाए कि आपके पास 3 यूनिट ऑफ एनर्जी है, अब आपका सिस्टम माइक्रोस्कोपिकली कैसा दिखेगा वो आपको कैसे पता चलेगा? इफ द पार्टिकल्स और 4 पार्टिकल्स आर डिस्टिंग्विशेबल और इनडिस्टिंग्विशेबल, मतलब आपको बोला गया कि आपके पास 4 पार्टिकल है, चारों पार्टिकल्स का कलर अलग अलग है, and now system has total 3 units of energy. So how many ways this energy can be distributed among the particles? तो अगर particles distinguishable है, मतलब आप उनको अलग अलग कर सकते हैं, तो टोटल 20 तरीके से ये एनर्जी डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो सकती है. पार्टिकल इनडिस्टिंग्विशेबल है तो ये एनर्जी टोटल 3 तरीके से डिस्ट्रीब्यूट हो सकती है अलग अलग. Okay, now what is our purpose? You can never know from the box. अगर ये बॉक्स के अंदर 4 गैस पार्टिकल है तो आप चारों पार्टिकल का इंडिविजुअल एनर्जी कभी मेजर नहीं कर सकते. You can't go to each particle and measure its individual energy. Now हम अभी 4 पार्टिकल की बात ले रहे हैं, बट वो थोड़ी देर में क्लियर हो जाएगा कि n पार्टिकल के लिए कैसे ये करेक्ट है. तो आप चारों पार्टिकल के पास जाके भाई अपनी एनर्जी बता, ऐसा नहीं बोल सकते. You can't tell that. So what is the way of doing this is you calculate all the possible microstates and then talk about कि इस स्टेट में होने का, पार्टिकल इस स्टेट में होने का प्रोबेबिलिटी कितना होगा, पार्टिकल इस स्टेट में होने का प्रोबेबिलिटी कितना होगा, पार्टिकल इस स्टेट में होने का प्रोबेबिलिटी कितना होगा, और पार्टिकल इस स्टेट में होने का प्रोबेबिलिटी कितना होगा. And eventually what we see is all these 4 states represent something like this कि 3 particle are sitting in the zero energy state and 1 particle is sitting in the first excited state, 3 particles are in the zero state and 1 particle is चार एनर्जी लेवल में. आपको बोला गया अंदर 4 एनर्जी लेवल है, अंदर वो कैसे कैसे डिस्ट्रीब्यूटेड है, यू नो इट फ्रॉम दिस. एंड यू कांट टेल विद सर्टेनिटी कि ये पार्टिकल का एनर्जी इतना ही होगा और ये पार्टिकल का एनर्जी इतना ही होगा. यू नीड टू take all these cases into consideration and what you talk about is probability. Now कि A पार्टिकल, B पार्टिकल और C पार्टिकल तीनों ग्राउंड स्टेट में हो और D पार्टिकल थर्ड एक्साइटेड स्टेट में हो, उसका प्रोबेबिलिटी कितना है? इट इज 1/20. is 1/20. नाउ अगर सारे पार्टिकल्स ग्राउंड स्टेट में हो, सारे पार्टिकल्स नहीं, 3 पार्टिकल्स ग्राउंड स्टेट में हो और एक थर्ड एक्साइटेड स्टेट में हो, उसका प्रोबेबिलिटी कितना है? तो 3 पार्टिकल्स ग्राउंड स्टेट में, 3 particles are in the ground state and 1 particle is on the third excited state. What is its probability? So total 4 cases are there, 4 favorable cases out of total 20 cases. तो उसका probability है 4/20. Now what is the probability that 2 particles are sitting in the zero state and 1 particle is in the 1 state and 1 particle is in the second excited state? What is the probability if these particles are distinguishable? There are 12 cases, favorable cases, and 20 total cases. So 12/20 is probability that two particles will be sitting on the lower level, and one particle will be sitting on the first and second excited state. So this is the probability that that thing will happen. This is the probability that the first thing will happen. And for the last thing also, the probability is 420. All are sitting in 111, and one remaining one, 3 are sitting in 111, and the last is sitting on the 0th level. That to see that kind of phenomena, the probability is 4/20. So from this we can tell कि इसका probability ज़्यादा है. So from this we can tell that if you keep 4 particles in the box with 4 different energy states, 0, 1, 2, 3, then if you measure the energy of each and every particle, there is more probability that the result comes out to be this. If the particles are distinguishable, there is the more probability that result comes out to be this. This is the more probability. Okay, because particles can also go from here to there also. So this is the most probable state. These other two states are not that probable. So you'll find the system most of the times in this state, but you will also find system in this and the last state that we discussed, this state. So this is the point, the whole point of statistical mechanics. You can't go, if there are n particles, now let us see, for 4 particles made our life so much miserable with calculations. Now if there are n particles, how can you go and ask each particle where you are sitting? You can't do that. So what we do is we make this list of states, and from that list of states we know that which state is most probable, and if that state is most probable, let's suppose this state is most probable, then we can say that this is the most probable arrangement, and from this we can conclude so many things. If this state is more probable, then we can conclude so many things. I'll be giving you one problem in your tutorial today. This is your problem. You need to find, this is your problem. Just write a question. To find a way to distribute 4 balls in 2 energy levels. And tell me which distribution is most probable. Here I am not telling you the total energy of the system in advance. I want you to calculate that 4 balls in 2 energy levels, or 4 particles, let's say, in 2 energy levels. They are indistinguishable. Okay, 4 particles in 2 energy levels. Just tell me that which is the most probable distribution, and tell me most probable energy from, because that if the distribution is most probable, the energy corresponding to that distribution will be most probable. Tell me most probable energy also. So tell me most probable energy also. This is what I want. 2 energy levels, 0 and 1. 0 and this 1, and I want you guys to do this and tell me tomorrow that what were your results or what were your outcomes from this. और अगर हमें ये पता चल जाता है, if we know how many microstates are possible, then we know what is the most probable value of energy. We know what is the most probable value of momentum or something. What is the most probable value of pressure corresponding to this most probable state. We know which parameter, which measurable parameter will have the most probable value. From that we can know that, and this is the whole exercise of statistical mechanics. Okay, so this is why we are studying statistical mechanics, because for so many particles you can talk about so many different microstates. You can find number of microstates using some basic formulas, because those number of microstates are directly proportional to number of systems that you took in your ensemble. That's why you're studying ensemble at the first place, because each and every system in ensemble suggests different microstates. So if you have so many microstates, you know that the number of microstate is proportional to the number of systems in the ensemble, and it is proportional to the number of representative points in the phase space. And if those points are moving, you know that how those points are moving according to the Liouville's theorem, and eventually you know everything about the system in probabilistic manner. You don't know exactly about everything about the system, but you know what value has the most probability in the process. So this is the part. Now I want you to do this problem, which is given in your book, so you do it in your homework. So there are 2 problems in your homework. One is to find a way to distribute 4 particles in 2 energy levels. This is example 2. I don't want you to submit these problems to me. Try to do them. If you can't do it, try to make groups of friends who can do it. Discuss among your friends, and I will be explaining. If anybody of you cannot do it, kindly tell me tomorrow and we'll be explaining.